Hey, this is Rich from richonmoney.com. Today on the Rich on Money show, I'm doing something kind of unusual. I'm going to talk about dieting. 7 secrets to a successful diet that actually works. Recently, I lost 25 pounds, probably more like 30 pounds. And I'm going to talk about that today. But before I do that, let me first talk about who I am. This is Rich Carey, richonmoney.com. Usually I talk about real estate and investing and how to do that the slow, methodical, and way that actually works. I usually teach military and veterans how to save money, how to invest, how to do it right. If you like this, subscribe, thumbs up, leave comments. Let me dive into this. So today I'm doing something that's totally different, something I've never done before. I'm talking about a completely different subject. I'm talking about dieting. I'm excited about this. I've been bugging my coworkers, my friends, and my family about this ever since January when I started my diet, January 20th. If you read my blog post about this, I have a chart on there, and I'm looking at it right now. On this chart, it starts with January 21st, 2019. I measured my wife did this in centimeters. She's Asian, so she uses centimeters instead of inches. She measured my chest, measured my belly, not necessarily my waist, but actually I don't like I have a gut that sticks out, like right at my belly button. So I measured my belly at the fattest point. Chest, belly, my butt, and then I did my weight in pounds. And I measured that like about every 2 weeks, starting on January 20th, and then most recently on April 27th. And you'll kind of see my progress. And I've done pretty good. I've lost 25 pounds, and I've dropped a lot of centimeters or inches on the belly and the butt. Chest is not so much, but it's changed a lot how it looks and it's more defined. And I'm not done yet. Actually, I need to and want to lose a lot more, so I'm going to keep going. So are you curious what diet I used? I guess the thing I want to talk about is what diet I used, and I want to talk about why I've been successful this time dieting and why why in the past have I tried so many times but failed? A lot of people have asked me, why is it going so well this time? So I'm going to talk about that today. I usually weigh between 180 and 185 pounds. And after I got back from Thailand this time on a family vacation in January, I was up to 190, which to me was kind of high. But what I didn't realize, now that I'm dieting, I do realize, but what I didn't realize at the time is that even though 180 has been my weight my whole adult life, my whole adult life since I was like 20, that weight is actually overweight. Even though most people would say I'm skinny, even though most people would say at 180 I already look good or I look okay or I look slim, I was overweight. I had too much fat around my waist. I had fat kind of hidden on a skinny guy, if that makes sense. So I have pictures of myself on my website of me in a military uniform and me in a suit. And I look slim. And I think people always assume that I'm slim. But I wasn't, and I'm not. If I go to the beach and I kind of take off, like my clothes and it's just like me in a swimsuit, you're kind of like, actually, no, he's kind of got a belly and he's kind of got like the man boobs and all that. Forgive me for using that term, but, not so good. I got sick of that and I wanted to correct that. What diet did I choose? Well, I went with the Paleo Diet. Paleo diet. I got a little graphic on my website, but essentially what I ate was meat and vegetables. That's like primarily what I ate. And then very little fruit, very little nuts, and nothing else. So there's no bread, no sugar, no milk, no rice, no corn, no beans. I sometimes eat green beans. No potatoes. There's no peanut butter and no peanuts, because peanuts is actually a bean. And peanuts is really high in calories. And so I love peanut butter and peanuts, and you just can't get away with peanuts. It just doesn't work for me in dieting. Breakfast. Let me talk about breakfast on this diet that I did. Pretty much, there's a picture of my typical breakfast here on the post. Almost always scrambled eggs and a vegetable of some kind. And that was my breakfast. Almost every day scrambled eggs. Sometimes when I didn't have time to make breakfast, I would buy scrambled eggs and bacon at a cafe once I got to work. Or, kind of like go to the gym really early in the morning, and then I would just go to this cafe. That's breakfast. Very simple. Got to have a protein and got to have a veggie. Lunch was almost always leftovers from a healthy dinner that my wife made for me. My wife was a huge part of this. She totally supported me in this diet. So lunch was almost always just a leftover of the meat and veggie that my wife made for dinner. Dinner, the most basic dinner was like chicken breast and baked broccoli. I baked so many vegetables because I don't like vegetables that much. I baked cauliflower, baked Brussels sprouts, baked broccoli, baked everything. On the picture on my website here, I have sauteed mushrooms, cauliflower. Actually, there's one Brussels sprout, which is kind of weird. And I have baked broccoli. I wasn't afraid to have fat. You don't have to be afraid of fat on this diet, the paleo diet. So I'll have steak, I'll have ground beef, I'll have pork chops, I'll have fatty cuts of meat. I'm careful not to go overboard with these cuts of meat. So if I'm having a fatty cut, I'll just make sure to have like a little bit less than normal, and I'll just kind of, okay, I'm going to have less steak today and more veggies. If it's chicken, I'll have like more chicken, Steak, okay, less steak, but because I know I'm getting some fat. Drinking. I used to drink a lot more with the job that I'm in now in my career. I drank quite a bit. Well, I cut back on drinking like 90%, and I drink rarely now, much to the chagrin of my coworkers and my counterparts at work. I feel much better, and I'm losing weight much faster because I'm not drinking. I would also argue that it helps with sleep and with many other things. Why is this diet working? I mean, I'm losing weight fast. Lots of people are noticing. I feel much better about myself. I have more energy. Kind of all the typical success things you usually hear. Why is this working? A lot of people ask me that. I spent some time writing this post, and I came up with 7 reasons. I'll give 7 reasons that this is working. The number one reason is motivation. You have to have a strong motivation, or you just give up fast, right? I essentially had like a New Year's resolution that I didn't give up on in 1 or 2 weeks. For me, the motivation was I kind of got sick and tired of like this gut that was like sticking way out. I mean, it was sticking way out, like a little Santa Claus that nobody else could see just because of the way us skinny guys are. I mean, you couldn't see it, but I saw it every night. I had a gut that stuck out, and I had love handles, and they were pretty significant. And I was sick of seeing it. And my kids could see it, and my wife could see it, and they'd kind of make fun of me. And I'm like, you know what? After a while, it gets old. I care about what my kids think. I care what my wife thinks. But more than anything, I care what I think. And I just got fed up. And I'm like, you know what? Not only do I want to get rid of this, but like, I want to get in the best shape of my life. And I just made a decision. And I guess you could say that primarily that was the major motivation. Call it shallow, call it superficial, but that's primarily it. Now there's obviously health reasons behind that too. Very, very healthy to get rid of all that fat that I don't need. And there's probably more than 30 pounds that I don't need. That's number one. Number two is support. My goodness. For me, it's been support. It's been huge. I would have given up a long time ago if I didn't have a wife that cooked this food for me when I get home from an exhausting job each day. She knows the diet I'm on. She supports me. She cooks the healthy food. It's like they're waiting for me when I come home from work, and then I pack it for lunch the next day. So my dinner and my lunch are prepared for me each day. And I make my own breakfasts, which is really freaking easy. And I think that would be my major complaint my whole life with diets is like, I don't have time to make these healthy meals. So my wife's making them for me for the most part. I couldn't have done it without her. I think at this point, it's important enough to me that I think I would do it if she wasn't doing it, but that's been huge. Support. Goals and accountability. Am I on 3? I hope so. I put those together because they're kind of the same thing. I have a goal of losing weight, and I'm making myself accountable by telling everybody. I tell my coworkers, I tell my wife, I tell my kids. I just told you. So obviously, if the next day I start eating a bag of Cheetos, right? Or if I'm eating like whatever, I go order an ice cream, and people are like, I thought you were on a diet, then you sort of like, oh, you're right. You're making yourself accountable by telling people. And now you're not just letting yourself down, but you're like letting others down. And others will hold you accountable to what you told them. The more people you tell, the more accountable you are, not just to yourself, but others. So imagine using social media to put out your goals and accountability. That's important. Planning, I think, is number 4. 2 perspectives. One is planning to make sure that you'll always have access to healthy food all week long. The second is planning your approach to the temptations of bad food that you can anticipate seeing all week long. For me, I have a coworker who is the best baker I've ever seen in my life. She makes these wonderful cookies and wonderful pastries and all these awesome things, and she bakes them all the time and brings them into work. Also, I have coworkers that bring in donuts all the time. Also, we have this tradition, it's so-and-so's birthday, so we'll bring in a cake today. So I know all this stuff's going to happen, and I make the decision ahead of time. I'm not eating any of that stuff. No birthday cakes, none of my coworkers' baked goods, none of the donuts. I'm saying no to everything, regardless, no matter what. And I just make that decision. And that makes all the difference in the world. You got to think about Christmas party, Thanksgiving. You give yourself a break at Thanksgiving. But you got to, every event of the week, think ahead. So-and-so's promotion, so-and-so's, going away. You got to make your decision of what you're going to do with food and alcohol and the expectation that you're supposed to, eat and drink. Next on my list is cheat meal. There's a great picture on here. Go look at the pizza that I usually eat once a week as my cheat meal. There are 21 meals in a week. I eat 20 according to the diet, and I eat 1, whatever the hell I want. And that can include a dessert or desserts, and that can include alcohol if you want. And that's a lifesaver for me. I think about that damn cheat meal all week. I found that as I lose weight and as I go along further in this diet, my cheat meals get less and less absurd, less and less over the top. But you can do whatever the hell you want at the beginning of your diet. And then I think that as you go along, your cheat meals will calm down. Bravery, I listed on here as an attribute you need to. I know I have a lot of attributes, but these are important. I mean, hardly anyone ever gets diets right. Bravery. What do I mean by that? Again, it's sort of this temptation thing and sort of how do you survive a diet? There's so many expectations that when you go to certain dinners, go to certain meetings, go to certain holidays, go to certain people's houses, could be even your own family. Certainly it could be extended family and relatives, that you have to eat certain things. You have to drink certain things. You have to do certain things. I have an expectation at most dinners I go to for work that I'm supposed to get really drunk. I don't do that anymore. I've just told them, like, I know I'm supposed to get drunk with you guys, but I'm on a diet and I don't do that anymore. And everybody's kind of like, whoa, what? You can't do that? Like, what is your job? I don't really care. Like, I care more about my health than I do sort of the silly work expectation. You just got to be brave, and you just got to decide that your health is more important than insert, silly expectation here. Calorie deficit. I can't believe I have to say this, but I do. Calorie deficit. If you're on a diet, it doesn't work unless you're eating less calories than you need to each day. Why do I need to say this? I know it sounds like common sense, but you pick a diet. You pick vegetarian diet, whatever diet you're on. Vegetarian diet, right? Well, you can eat like bread. You can eat fruit, right? You can eat hummus, right? You can eat peanut butter. These things are all high in calories. So on a vegetarian diet, it is really easy to overeat, all right? You got to have a calorie deficit. Not only do you need to eat vegetarian, but you have to eat less calories than your body needs every day or you won't lose weight. Paleo diet, the one that I'm on, the paleo diet. Okay, that's great. Paleo is awesome, right? You can eat fruits and nuts every day. Oh, crap. Almonds, cashews, walnuts. I'll tell you what, mangoes, bananas, you can get a lot of calories when you start going nuts on those nuts or when you start going fruity on fruits. I eat very little fruits and nuts. You got to have a calorie deficit. You got to keep those calories low. That's the whole point of a freaking diet. People blow that all the time, including me. I think I named 7. I hope I didn't skip any. I'm going to go back down through them again. Motivation, support, goals and accountability, planning, cheat meal, bravery, and calorie deficit. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, if this is helpful, please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe. Leave a comment below about what's going on with your diet, what has worked for you, hasn't worked for you. Give me some support. I mean, is anyone going to like this? Are you guys going to think I'm nuts? Like, why is the real estate guy talking about dieting? Because I want to, because it's my freaking website. Peace out.